cannabis gets closer to public medical use. The Ministry of Public Health has found a new use for cannabis after successfully categorizing it as a drug that can be used for medical purposes. The campaign to promote cannabis extract for alternative medical treatment took off in earnest last year. Many hospitals have already offered cannabis-based treatment to patients, while the ministry had vowed to invest more in research and development of the plant. But for most of this year, the plant has been promoted among the wider public. The Narcotics Control Board agreed to remove cannabis and hemp leaf, and they passed from the narcotic drug list. Board members resolved to remove stems, stalks, and roots from cannabis plants and hemp, together with a component of CBD and THC, which less than 0 to 5% of the total gross from the narcotic drugs list. The removal also covers stems, non-viable seeds, oil extract, or any substance extracts from hemp, left from cannabis and hemp are also off the list, but not the flowers and buds, which are still under category 5 of the narcotic drugs list. Only institutions or people approved by government can cultivate cannabis plant. The ministry wants to promote the use of cannabis for medical purposes and support the cultivation of hemp and catch crop. It will also draft a ministerial regulation which will allow ordinary people to cultivate hemp as long as there is business plan in place to make sure everything from the plant goes through a controlled process. However, a license to cultivate it is still needed, which requires approval from the Narcotic Control Board. Road Safety Center opens for New Year. The Road Safety and Accident Reduction Center was launched on Monday ahead of the New Year exodus of holiday markers. The opening coincides with the government-directed seasonal road safety campaign during the so-called 7 Dangerous Days around the New Year. This year, the pilot runs from today to January 4th, while the long weekend officially lasts days and starts on Thursday. Many people have been heading out of town since the beginning of the week, and this year, fewer people are expected to take public transport due to the fear of contracting COVID-19. Deputy Prime Minister Prawit Wongsuwan, who presided over the launch of the center at the Department of Disaster Prevention and Mitigation, said the government was working to ensure people travel safely during the holidays. Jen Prawit said the rules will be strictly enforced over the New Year. Traffic monitoring and accident prevention agencies will integrate their usual work with urgent situations as and when they arise. Priority is being given to reducing traffic accidents at the same time as encouraging public health measures in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. Jane Bravis said, vehicles should be checked to see if they are roadworthy. Pickup trucks must not carry too many passengers in the bed of their vehicles, and motorists will be subjected to be breathalyzer tests. Meanwhile, the Royal Thai Army has set up 226 rest stops outside Army barracks nationwide to help motorists over the holidays. The 24/7 stops will also be on Bangkok's major travel arteries such as Pahon Yotin Road, Sukhumvit Road, the Friendship Highway and Pakistan Road. Staff from military-run hospitals which man the rest stop to provide medical care. The rest stops which will also offer vehicle check-up and receive emergency complaints have been operating since December 25th and will run until January 6th. Today I will read a book. Let's read it. Many of us are not too healthy. We often take an all or nothing approach to health. If we can't exercise every day, follow a healthy diet, or manage our stress levels, then we give up and do nothing. However, looking after our health doesn't have to take a lot of time and effort. It just takes a little dough. Follow these simple ideas and reaching your way to better health. First, get moving. How much are you exercising these days? Not a lot. Research shows not exercising is really bad for your health. If you can't afford to go to the gym, go running, skip the elevator and take the stairs. Don't take the bus or train, all the way walk. Or try exercising while you watch TV. Second, don't forget to take a break from work sometimes. Our bodies can't go all day. We need to take regular breaks. If work is stressing you out, take a few deep breaths in between takes. Try a little relaxing technique like meditation or take a relaxing 10-minute walk. Next, be sure to make good food choice. When you get stressed, do you reach for a cookie? Don't snack on junk food. Plan ahead and keep healthy snacks like fruit or nuts nearby. When you go shopping, buy only healthy foods for your next meal. If you have to order fast food, choose something light, go easy on the dressings, and add a healthy side dish like a salad or fruit. Finally, remember to sleep well. Don't fall asleep with the TV on when you go to bed. Make sure your room is quiet, cool, and dark. Research shows it's the best way to get a good night's sleep. With simple changes like this, you can return your way to great health, one choice at a time. It's up to you. Hello, today I will tell you that the fable of English. Little Red Riding Hood. There was once a sweet little maid who lived with her father and mother in a pretty little cottage at the edge of the village. At the further end of the wood was another pretty cottage, and in it lived her grandmother. Everybody loved this little girl. Her grandmother perhaps loved her most of all, and gave her a great many pretty things. Once she gave her a red cloak with a hood which she always wore, so people called her Little Red Riding Hood. One morning, Little Red Riding Hood's mother said, "Put on your things and go to see your grandmother. She has been ill. Take along this basket for her. I have put in it eggs, butter, and cake and other things." It was a bright and sunny morning. Red Riding Hood was so happy that at first she wanted to dance through the wood. All around her grew pretty wildflowers, which she loved so well, and she stopped to pick a bunch for her grandmother. Little Red Riding Hood wandered from her perch and was stooping to pick a flower when from behind her a gruff voice said, "Good morning, Little Red Riding Hood." Little Red Riding Hood turned around and saw a great big wolf. But Little Red Riding Hood did not know what a big beast the wolf was, so she was not afraid. "What have you in the basket, Little Red Riding Hood?" "Eggs and butter and cake, Mr. Wolf." "Where are you going with them, Little Red Riding Hood?" "I'm going to grandmother." "Who is you?" "Mr. Wolf." "Where does your grandmother live, Little Red Riding Hood?" "Along the path past the wild rose bushes, then to the gate at the end of the wood, Mr. Wolf." Then Mr. Wolf again said, "Good morning," and set off. And Little Red Riding Hood again went in search of wild flowers. At last he reached the porch covered with flowers and knocked at the door of the cottage. "Who is there?" called the grandmother. "Little Red Riding Hood," said the big wolf. "Press the latch, open the door, and walk in," said the grandmother. The wolf pressed the latch and walked in where the grandmother lay in bed. He made one jump at her, but she jumped out of bed into a closet. Then the wolf pushed on the cap which she had dropped, and crept under the bedclothes. In a short while, Little Red Riding Hood knocked at the door and walked in, saying, "Good morning, grandmother. I have brought you eggs, butter, and cake, and here is a bunch of flowers I get in the wood." As she came nearer the bed, she said, "What beaks are you have, grandmother?" "All the better to hear you, with my dear." "What big eyes you have, grandmother." "All the better to see you, my dear." "But, grandmother, what a big nose you have." "All the better to smell with, my dear." "But, grandmother, what a big mouth you have." "All the better to eat you up with, my dear," he says at he sprang at Little Red Riding Hood. Just at the moment Little Red Riding Hood's father was passing the cottage and heard her scream. He rushed in and with his egg chopped off Mr. Wolf's head. Everybody was happy that Little Red Riding Hood had escaped the wolf. Then Little Red Riding Hood's father carried her home, and they lived happily ever after. Thank you. English articles on degrees are almost not necessary. Your education is the single greatest gift you can give yourself. While there are educational opportunities, or rather, some of them come at a greater cost than others. A college education might require a hefty investment of time and money upfront, but the payoff is much better over time than if you use your life experiences in order to achieve the same level of education that you can pack into second, fourth, or fifth years of an undergraduate education on the college level. In other words, over the course of your lifetime, you are likely to pay far less for your college education than you would pay in earning potential for not having a college education. At the same time, each level of college education you receive increases your overall earning potential. This means that a one-year degree in a technical field will provide a modest boost from a high school diploma when it comes to earning potential, but an SH degree will provide an even better boost. You will see an even more significant improvement in earning potential when you increase from an associate degree to a bachelor degree. The vast majority of students enter the workforce upon completion of a bachelor degree. The students, however, who remain in school for graduate studies often find that a major degree even further improves their lifetime earning potential. The problem for most when it comes to making the jump between degrees and educational levels is cost. There are times in life when we simply need to get out of school and get to work. The good news is that it is gradually becoming easier for those when careers to pursue their education without sacrificing either the careers of their family during the process. Of course, there will be some sacrifice along the way, but is it an all at once or nothing? Either way, you can work towards your degree by taking online classes, night classes, and Saturday classes. The information age has made it easier than ever before to achieve the educational goals you need to meet in order to satisfy your dreams for the future. Your level of education will get your foot in the door when it comes to certain jobs, and your lack of education will limit you far more than a lack of experience will limit you in many cases. As time goes on, more and more companies are seeking employees that have degrees rather than those who have experience in the field. If you hope to remain competitive in the business where you need to arm yourself with the proper education, check with your company to see if they offer any sort of incentives for employees continuing their education. You might be surprised to find that your company offers to match your tuition fund or even completely reimburse them if you are working towards a degree that will assist you in your job functions. There is no wrong reason to get an education, even if you are applying for a job that won't use your specific degree. You might find that having a degree at all gives you a boost over other applicants for the same position. A college degree is becoming more and more necessary in today's business climate. You need to take every opportunity that is available to you in order to get your college degree. Thank you. Now, e-waste creates economic, environmental problems for developing nations. Societies are producing more and more electronic goods, and therefore more and more electronic waste, or e-waste. The United Nations Environment Programme has released a report that warns of dangerous rise in the amount of such waste, which is often simply dumped in developing countries, posing health hazards to residents. Every year, the world produces 40 million tons of electronic waste, from TV to refrigerators to cell phones and computers. And this figure will only increase. For instance, by 2020, China is expected to throw away 7 times more cell phones than now, and India 18 times more. These high technology goods not only are bulky, they often contain toxic materials such as lead and mercury. If the e-waste is not taken care of properly, it can cause pollution and health hazards. The Brazil Action Network is a private group focused on halting the trade in toxic goods, particularly waste goods. Executive Director Jim Puckett says the world needs to take urgent measures to end toxic trash. The industry has built in obsolescence, unfortunately, so we're seeing things become waste quicker than ever before, Puckett said. Computers now have a lifespan about 2 years now in the notch. Many mobile phones are turned over within 6 months. When somebody wants to new waste model, so we are creating a mountain and we're not going to stop people from consuming. So the first thing we need to do is to get the toxic materials out of the equation. The issue of e-waste is one of several topics become discussed this week at the United Nations Programme for Environment Conference in Nusa Dua, Indonesia. Achim Steiner, the agency's Secretary General, says much of the e-waste should be recycled. Beyond the environmental reasons, there is also an economic incentive. He says, for example, 3% of the gold and silver mine worldwide is used in personal computers and mobile phones. If you start investing and recycling and reusing these materials, you actually begin to look at turning a problem into an opportunity. You start creating jobs. You start reducing the amount of metal that level the cycle of our economy. you can reuse them, Steiner said. So, those are all advantages if you begin to manage electronic waste, not as we see from industrialized countries to least developed countries without legislation. The Basel Convention is an international agreement setting global guidelines on handling e-waste, but it is not without weaknesses. The United States, the single largest producer of e-waste, has never ratified the convention. Also, e-waste has become a highly profitable ego trade. Some companies get rid of their trash by exporting it to poor countries, where instead of being treated or recycled, it piled up in landfill, and the toxic materials can leak out into water and soil. The problem today is compounded by the growing complexity of the trade. E-waste used to be produced by developed nations and then dumped in poor countries. But today, poor countries without recycling capacity export their e-waste to nations like China and emerging economies are also increasingly net producers of e-waste. China, for example, has become the second largest producer after the United States. Electronic waste is more than an economical problem. It also affects the health of millions of people who make a living by stripping out the waste dumped in their countries. Environmental experts say it will take a new funds and manpower to solve the problem by establishing safe recycling facilities and curbing illegal and curbing illegal exports. Airline layoff ahead as travel stall. More layoffs in Thailand's aviation industry will be seen this year as a result of no liquidity and a slow revival in international markets expected in the final quarter. Airline Association of Thailand (AAT) President Puttipong Praserthong also said, all airlines are struggling with earnings as the domestic market has yet to regain positive momentum. The fourth quarter of last year was the most prosperous period before the second outbreak, ravaged the tourism industry from late December. The pandemic has seen all airlines to reduce their workforce by varying numbers. While one airline, Northcote, had to permanently exit the market, the number of staff at 7 airlines under AAT remained at just 16,000, a far cry from 25,000 to 30,000 prior to the outbreak. He said the smaller size was necessary for survival as they have to keep the operations cost in line with a more compact aircraft fleet. Mr. Puttipong, also a president at Bangkok Airways, says it slashed 20% of 3,000 employees over a year, flying only 30% of its 38 aircraft. The worst was in January, as the airline carried only 200 passengers per day, a sharp drop compared with her peak of 5,000 per day. He said. Aviation in Thailand might take 4 years to fully get back the 40 million international arrivals seen in 2019. A cost-saving strategy will be the main target for airlines in the terms of long-term plans. The 14 billion baht soft loan AAT request from the government will help them maintain employment and prepare for future growth once international markets were back on track. We suffered a tremendous domestic impact during the second wave, and it will take months to climb back to its peak again, while reopening for international markets will likely occur with few countries that have bilateral agreements with Thailand. First, at health safety is a big issue for local communities, says Mr. Puttipong. He said that AAT will submit 3 against proposals this week to state agencies are aimed at gaining tourism confidence. They will ask the Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration (CCSA) to prioritize vaccination program to airlines workforces, working with tourism and sports ministry to accelerate vaccine passports, and urge the transport ministry to prepare for international flight regulations. Mr. Puttipong said the decision to reduce quarantine period from 14 days is good sign for the travel industry, as the mandatory quarantine has been the largest negative factor for international market during the past year. It's quite impossible for tourism and business travelers to take 14 days quarantines before and after trip. They might have money to spend, but they don't have the luxury of time to be kept in isolation for almost a month, he said. Government unveils new curve. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha has issued a set of new restrictions taking effect on Monday in the wake of a new source of the coronavirus. The customers are not banned from eating in restaurants, and weddings are still allowed under certain conditions. The directives signed by Jen Prayut as Director of the Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration (CCSA) were announced in the Royal Gazette on Sunday. The new restrictions will be applied to 28 red zone provinces, including Bangkok. The 28 red zone provinces were officially announced in the Royal Gazette on Sunday. According to the announcement, a ban is imposed on the use of buildings and schools, and education is started in red zone areas with maximum controls to be imposed for teaching and learning or activities likely to draw a crowd except for online learning, charities, public service, with permissions from provincial governors, small schools with no more than 120 students, and border patrol police schools. Activities which could transmit the virus in red zone, such as meetings, seminars, banquets, and food handouts, are forbidden except where they are carried out or permitted by authorities or they take place in quarantine facility. Heavy traffic in Korat as travelers head back to Bangkok. Court approves board for 14 river activists, 8 officials. Bangkok and provincial governors are authorized to close pubs, bars, and karaoke outlets in red zone. The new restrictions do not ban customers from dining in interiors. However, though the number of seats in patrons must be limited, alcohol consumption is not allowed inside eateries. In the announcement, the CCSA, the Interior Ministry, and the Public Health Emergency Operations Center will jointly consider guidelines and ensure that restrictions are properly followed in each province. According to the announcement, shopping malls, department stores, community malls, conventions and exhibition halls, convenience stores, supermarkets, and other simpler places are still allowed to operate under strict disease control measures. Bangkok and provincial governors have the authority to close premises and impose restrictions in areas premises are under use of vigilance or ban activities apart from those announced by CCSA. Authorities will screen people who travel between provinces, particularly from red zone province, while those who must travel to other provinces must show evidence of why they are going and undergo health screening. Private companies are also required to come up with work from home arrangements for employees or strikers how to reduce the risk of transmission. The CCSA panel on the easing of COVID-19 restrictions at the feet. Earlier on Sunday, CCSA spokesman Tawisin Wisnuyotin said the government plans to show some flexibility in imposing the new restriction to take effect today. The CCSA had reviewed restrictions based on the situation in various provinces. Dr. Tawisin said some changes were made before being presented for approval by the Prime Minister. He said, "He have turned down our previous plan," the spokesman said, explaining the CCSA decided not to enforce a national lockdown because of the devastation it would cause to business and the wider economy. We will not lock down the country because there is economic cost to pay and everybody will suffer, he said. The CCSA has left room for provincial governors, including the Bangkok governors, to impose tougher restrictions beyond the new measure. Governors serve as the chairman of each provincial communicable disease committee, They cannot weaken the CCSA measure, but they can add more restrictions, he said. Meanwhile, the CCSA confirmed 315 new coronavirus cases, taking the accumulated total number of infections since the start of the pandemic to 7,694. No new deaths were reported, leaving fatalities at 64. The CCSA said 294 were deaths and 20 migrant workers. 17 in Samut Sakhon, and there is Nonthaburi. The greatest number of newly infected were Chanthaburi 68, Chonburi 62, Rayong 43, Samut Sakhon 38, including 17 migrant workers, and Bangkok 19. Cambodia's Hun Sen halts extraction of country's first drop of oil. Cambodian Premier Hun Sen announced Tuesday that the kingdom had extracted its first drop of crude oil from its waters, a long-awaited milestone for one of Southeast Asia's poorest nations. The Gulf of Thailand boasts significant oil deposits, with Chevron first finding prominent reserves of Cambodia in 2005. But production stalled as the government and the U.S. joined fought to reach a revenue-sharing agreement, leading the firm to sell its stake to Singapore's KrisEnergy in 2014. Hun Sen halted the first extraction of crude as a new achievement for Cambodia's economy. The first drop of oil has been produced. The year 2021 is coming, and we have received a gift for our nation, the first oil product in our territory, he says in the Facebook post. The crude was taken from an area of the southwestern coast of Sihanoukville. Chevron's discovery of the resource led the kingdom to be fed as the region's next potential petrostate, with the government estimating hundreds of millions of barrels of crude were beneath its waters. KrisEnergy currently holds a 95% stake of the block where the oil was taken from, while the government holds the rest. Kevin Tan, the CEO of KrisEnergy's Cambodia operation, said, "There has been a steep learning curve to launch the field production during a global pandemic. The cross-border logistics of mobilizing personnel and equipment to execute this development safely during this time of COVID-19 would not have been possible without government support," he said. The company expects a peak production rate of 7,500 barrels a day once the drilling program is complete in February 2021, a modest month compared with Cambodia oil production nearby Vietnam and Thailand. But the revenue could be significant for the government, which estimates in 2017 that it will make at least $500 million in royalties and tax from the first phase of the project. The discovery also raised concerns about how Cambodia, a country long ranks poorly in terms of transparency, whose youth is new, far-veiled, but Hun Sen, Asia's longest serving leader, dismissed them, calling the extraction a blessing for Cambodians. It is not a cross like it has been cited by some ill viewpoint, he says. Analyzing political cartoons. A political cartoon expresses opinions about public issues and public individuals. It uses some or of 5 elements to express a point of view: symbols, exaggeration, labeling or captions, analogy, and irony. To fully understand a political cartoon, the reader must apply critical thinking skills to decipher the meaning and point of view of the cartoon. Political cartoons began appearing in American newspapers, criticizing the British government. The increase in newspapers and magazine circulation in the 1800s also provide a rich environment for the rise of political cartoons. Political cartoons quickly became popular because people with even minimal reading abilities could understand and relate to the ideas presented in a powerful, humorous format. Pictures and symbols can convey meanings that are sometimes more powerful than words. Today, they cover all aspects of our life, from pop culture to environmental concerns to mistakes made by politicals, and are often created to persuade people to favor one point of view over another. Cartoonists use simple objects or symbols to stand for larger concepts or ideas. After you identify the symbols in a cartoon, think about what the cartoonist intends each symbol to stand for. Sometimes cartoonists overdo or exaggerate the physical characteristics of people or things in order to make a point. When you study a cartoon, look for any characteristic that seem overdone or overblown. Facial characteristics and clothing are some of the most commonly exaggerated characteristics. Then, try to decide what point the cartoonist was trying to make through exaggeration. Cartoonists often label objects or people to make it clear exactly what they stand for. Watch out for the different labels that appear in a cartoon, and ask yourself why the cartoonist choose to label that particular person or object. Does the label make the meaning of the object more clear? An analogy is a comparison between two unlike things that share some characteristics. By comparing a complex issue or situation with a more familiar one, cartoonists can help their readers see it in different light. After you study a cartoon for a while, try to decide what the cartoon's main analogy is. What two situations does the cartoon compare? Once you understand the main analogy, decide if this comparison makes the cartoonist point more clear to you. Irony is the difference between the way things are and the way things should be or be ratings and expect to be cartoonists often use irony to express their opinion on an issue. When you look at cartoon, see if you can find any irony in the situation the cartoon depicts. If you can think about what point the irony might be intended to emphasize, does the irony help the cartoonist express his or her opinion more effectively? Today I will read a book about benefit of dictionary. New ways of accessing the dictionary. At this moment, you are reading a printed book, but it is likely that you also read English using other media. For example, on the web or using a mobile device or e-reader. The Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary is available in a variety of different formats to give you access to the dictionary in whichever situation you find yourself. These formats include online, CD-ROM, and mobile app. Online. If you have an internet connection, the online dictionary at Cambridge Dictionary Online is a convenient way to look up words. When using your computer, you will also find extra help with your vocabulary learning here. You can find it at www.dictionary.cambridge.org. CD-ROM. Together with the print dictionary, you may have the CD-ROM. This offers you the maximum amount of information and ease of use, and without the need for an internet connection. Extras on the CD include more entries and example sentences, spoken, pronunciation, and a Unicode thesaurus feature, which allows you to search for words that have a similar meaning or that belong to the same topic area. Looking up a word is easy. You can find the word that you are looking for even if you do not know the correct spelling. And using the quick find button, you can find a word and here is pronunciation simply by pointing at it using your mobile app. Using the mobile app, you can access the dictionary wherever you are in the world. Hold a vast amount of information in one hand and look at words and phrases in a fraction of a second. You can find out more about the CARD mobile app by visiting Cambridge Dictionaries online. The dictionary for reference ease of access is not just for the electronic versions of the dictionary. With long entries, it can be hard to find the exact information you are looking for. The new design of the print dictionary will make it easier for you to find different parts of speech, idioms, and phrasal verbs. and the guide was print in capital letters and in color will guide you towards the meaning you are looking for. The dictionary for learning. Checking the dictionary for meanings and spellings may be what it is used for most, but you can get a lot more out of your dictionary. In particular, the Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary can help you to learn English. English Vocabulary Profile. In the dictionary entrance, you will see the symbol a first, a second, be first, be second. These symbols show you the words, meanings, and phrases that learners know at different levels based on the common European framework of reference. Effort is the lowest level and C second is the highest. You can use this information to decide which words you need to prioritize in your vocabulary learning. Part of the English Profile Program, a large research program sponsored by the Council of Europe. The words lists are based on extensive research using the Cambridge Learner Corpus, a collection of over 55 million words of English written by learners from all over the world, combined with sole evidence of use in other sources, such as examination word lists, other sources, and classroom materials. This corpus confirms what learners can and cannot do at each level. The Dictionary for Study. English is increasingly being used as a vehicle for the study of other subjects. You may be taking a business studies course in the US, or you may be in Sweden studying engineering or planning to in many cases in English-speaking countries or not. You will need English for your studies. For this edition of the dictionary, we have added a new 30-page focus on writing section, which covers the essentials of writing for academic courses and for exams. You will also find increased coverage of many fields of academic study, including applied linguistics and language teaching, as well as these specialized words. You will also find more high-level general academic vocabulary, which are used in many different fields of study. The Dictionary for Communicating. The Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary helps you to communicate naturally, fluently, and correctly. Natural English, one of the most important resources we have for getting information about how English works and what people actually say or write in the Cambridge International Corpus, a collection of over 1.5 billion words of written and spoken language from a high variety of sources. The corpus provides the evidence that editors used when deciding what to say about words. In the dictionary, it allows us to see which ways of saying things are more common and helps us to write the example sentence, which are such a useful model modern for learners to follow.